So, the first thing that I noticed before even touching down into the city of Amsterdam was those offshore wind turbines on the water, as if the Netherlands was already trying to tell me something before I even landed. And I thought to myself at the time, calm down, Netherlands. I could definitely see that you're into this sustainability thing. Good for you. But then I noticed that the geography was, incredibly flat, probably due to the fact that a lot of the Netherlands is on reclaimed land. Therefore, something crazy like half of it is either at or below sea level. And that right there communicates to me, at least, that sustainability is not just some pet project, but an imperative to this country. And why not the world? My name is Joe Zapata. I am a UConn civil engineering student, and I really like cities. So I decided to go to Amsterdam and experience its famed livability and see how it stacks up against the US. While I was living in Amsterdam, I had a sense that this was a livable city. I noticed that it was not too chaotic, nor was it too orderly. The city was compact, it was easy and fun to navigate, and you knew that you were in Amsterdam with its distinct character, such as its canals, which would be boulevards in any other city, and the Dutch Renaissance-style row houses with their blend of classiness fit for a nobleman, while also being subdued, which aligns with the culture of Dutch modesty. Now, I felt these things, but is there a more concrete definition of a livable city? This is a difficult question because the concept of livability is abstract. So instead of me trying haphazardly to answer this question, I've decided to seek out expert opinions on the matter. This is Cornelia Dinka, a native Romanian, Canadian-educated with a bachelor's in chemical and petroleum engineering from the University of Calgary. She finds her true calling in Amsterdam, where she has a master's in urban planning from the University of Amsterdam and founded Sustainable Amsterdam, which aims to spread the city's sustainable-based urban development worldwide. So yeah, she probably knows what she's talking about. This was her answer.
Yeah, I think when we talk about quality of life, the person who I think has done the best job trying to identify kind of what are these elements or what are the criteria for achieving these livable streets or livable streets or livable cities was actually Jane Jacobs in 1961, right, with the life and death of American cities. She talks about I think it was maybe 5 key elements that make streets work. And the first 2, I think, are the most important. Density and the mixed function, the mixed use. And that's what you see in Amsterdam. In the parts of the city that are attractive, you see that density, you see that mixed use. You can go out to New West, you can go out to Belmermeer, you can go to parts of North, all of these more in many cases post-World War II districts that are monofunctional, that are lower densities. They're not nearly as attractive. They're not the places that tourists come to when they come to Amsterdam. They're not the places where expats with all the choices who can live anywhere where they want to live. That's not where they go to. So you see that also in Amsterdam. You see that there are some parts of the city that are much more attractive and successful, and others that are not. So density and mixed use, I think, are the two important ones. She also talks about the need of having buildings of different, from different periods in time. So that's part of kind of the evolution of districts. If you just build a whole new district at once, it takes a while for that district to really kind of get an organic feel. That's something else that's quite important. The multifunctionality is also achieved when you have good public transport, so not relying on automobiles, right? You cannot talk about a city being livable if people are spending 2 hours a day being stuck in traffic. That's actually a very big challenge in many cities. So what we talked about in terms of this density and mixed function makes it possible that you build neighborhoods that are not car dependent, but it's not on its own. So you still need public transport typically in order to connect these different districts. So you're typically going for, let's say, a sort of polycentric approach. So you need different hubs, different areas that can deliver most of the functions that people living in those neighborhoods need access to. So, and then good connectivity between these districts. And that's actually the way cities historically have been built all over the world, in fact. And only kind of after the Second World War, the modernist approach of separating functions and spreading everything out became popular, and at the cost of this traditional way. So when we talk about, in North America, it's very common to talk about new urbanism. New urbanism is just old urbanism. We're calling it new, but it actually should be called old urbanism.
I also had the opportunity to have a conversation with Ruth Oldenziel. She was born and raised in Amsterdam, but moved to America to obtain a PhD at Yale University in American history. She currently resides back at the Netherlands, where she is a professor at Eindhoven University. With a background like that, she has the unique ability to contrast places in America with Amsterdam, and this allows her to capture not just what livability is, but what it is not, with a more personal lens.
Well, let me tell you how I discovered what quality of life meant to me, and my experience in the States had a lot to do with that. I was born and raised in Amsterdam, and I thought that the way Amsterdam was that every city was like that, you know, being cosmopolitan, being small scale, so having everything that a city has to offer in terms of exposure to the world, and yet being on a humane scale. But the one thing I never could get over in the States is the car dependency. There's something so alienating about that experience, and so suburban life was never bucolic for me. It was a nightmare because of that car dependency. So it was a series of discoveries of what quality of life meant. I got a job offer in Arizona, even though I had decided to come back to the Netherlands. But they said, no, you know, we offer you this job. And before I had to do my job talk, they invited me with a real estate woman, and she showed me all these wonderful houses with these lawns, that is to say, in the desert. And I thought, is this the life I want? Because I would need, okay, the job would be good income, having a house with a lawn. But where would I go? I was a woman in my late 20s, early 30s, and I thought, this to me is not what I thought aim of life was, you know, to be in this unsustainable environment. At the time, I did not have the word unsustainable. You know, unsustainability was not a word in the early 90s that was a very current term. But I discovered in that moment that was not the life I wanted. And so I said no to the job. It was just kind of a job offer you couldn't refuse, but I refused. So I went back to the Netherlands without a job offer. And, you know, maybe professionally it was not as challenging for me, but in terms of, and here we go, quality of life, it has offered everything I was looking for. The small scale, being able to walk to work, and that connectivity, being able to enjoy the city, to walk around, that to me is quality of life.
So, to close out this video, let me recap a few of the many things that I've learned on this journey. Having a dense city filled with mixed-use development that have diverse architectural styles of many different time periods, coupled with public transit, are what foster livable cities. Now that I've had the experience of living in Amsterdam, it has woken me up to the possibilities for American cities. It will take a lot of work, but I do believe that Amsterdam shows us a better way. Thank you for watching.
The answer is, again, you have to work hard for paradise.